have a major opportunity to get infected. Hers is nice. We got to find out what her secret is.
You might want to mention that is the reverse.
Yeah, hers was low as 200.
Real low, right?
Yeah, they do fluctuate a great deal from one. Not well. Not, yeah, they do actually, by the several hundreds, they can go up and down. So you have to kind of watch them over a period of time. We'll tell our stories, and then we have time for questions. And any question is appropriate. And nothing, if it's inappropriate, we'll tell you. You know, so we're willing to answer even very personal things because we're trying to give you a very personal view of the HIV disease. Let me say something about We the People. The full title of the organization is We the People Living with HIV/AIDS of the Delaware Valley, and we just call ourselves We the People. Although there was a organization set up for the bicentennial with the same name, so sometimes people get confused or think one is the other. It's a unique AIDS agency in that it's of, for, and by people who are HIV positive. For instance, Elaine and I and Ron, three of us are on the board of directors. Of the 15 board members, 13 must be HIV positive. And the organization brings together people to try and live a healthy, positive life after HIV infection. So we provide all kinds of services that other AIDS agencies don't. We have 2 dinners, Tuesday and every Thursday, in different churches in Philadelphia. We have a speakers bureau. I'm the chairman of the speakers bureau. And if any of you, as long as you're in the Philadelphia area, would like to have another AIDS program somewhere at your church or synagogue, we'd be glad to send out speakers. And we do get more interest requests from suburban areas in the Philadelphia area because a lot of people don't know about our speakers bureau. And what I try to do is have a variety of people, black, white, people who've gotten through heterosexual activity, gay activity, drug use, and so forth. We have a very balanced panel today. Actually, for the first time, we have 3 heterosexuals, only 1 gay. usually we have a majority of gays because we encourage everybody to join our organization, but because the gay community was hit first and hardest by the HIV infection, the vast majority of our membership or people that come to our organization are gay. Like myself, I'm the lone gay. But it feels good to be in the minority. I don't feel too threatened by the minority status. What else a lot of people lose weight, and food and clothing banks are very important. And we have a clothing bank once a week where people come and get clothing, and that's something people like the Brenoir, anything else can do if they have any clothing or food. We have a food bank which will soon be opening. We have all kinds of support groups. Elaine and Ron are part of called Triple Trouble. You want to tell them about Triple Trouble?
Triple Trouble is a support group for people with HIV and AIDS infection also have drugs or alcohol problems. And we call it Triple Trouble because it's like that. and what we do is we sit and we try to help each other, support each other, give each other information, learn from each other, and how to combat the disease, how to live with the HIV infection, and how to stay clean from alcohol.
And Rosemary heads up a group called Women's Way, right?
Women's Power.
Women's Power. Oh, we're...
It's the only women's group that's ran and held by HIV women. There are other groups, but the people that run them are not positive. And I want to change it to women's resource, or Women's Power now.
And then we have other groups for newly diagnosed people. We have some for long-term survivors, more than 2 or 3 years, as they do in other agencies. But ours is unique, and most of them are kind of more concerned about, and run by people who are HIV positive. That makes them different from other support groups. But there are a lot of different other support groups by other agencies in the city of Philadelphia. We're lucky to have lots of support groups of all kinds. What else do we do?
With the circle, we have the name project.
The names project for Quill.
For the Quill.
And we help people with housing. We have seminars on when you diagnose with HIV, a lot of times you get sick, you might be by yourself, you might need to be put in a nursing home, or you might need an apartment. A lot of people on the street, and place to go. We help with finding places to go. We put them with case managers and things like that.
Although we actually don't have case managers.
No, we put them
With case managers to the major case management, the PCHA in action.
We have a healing circle. We have a nicotine smoke out. We try to stop smoking.
Not good for
The
our
only
music.
thing I have left, I'm gonna do it, you know? But, we have that.
And everything that we have is for AIDS affected people, and everybody in America is AIDS affected, so anybody's welcome to come. They like to our dinners. If you happen to be in Philadelphia, want to come to one of our dinners, anybody here is welcome, because it's for AIDS affected people, friends, lovers, brothers, sisters, whatever.
We have videos twice a month.
And we have a single seat coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, and that's a nice, that's one of her.
That's the gay single seat. We have a gay single seat. We'd like to, we have enough.
I've never been in a place.
It's a women's bar, very, very nice women's bar in Philadelphia.
We know.
We're in the process of trying to, a matter of fact, it's written into the budget, starting a heterosexual luncheon, like for the women now and the men. You know, no, for us to socialize, because our sociability in the community, you know, like you usually kind of like drop on the face of the other because of yourself, not because of everybody else. You get a little lonely. And you feel like people don't want you around, or you know, you can't blend with people. So we always try to have social events, cook, you know, the dinners and stuff like that.
Picnics in the summer,
Picnics,
fun things, go to Doherty Park. So it's important, you know, emphasizing the loving and living and having, you know, a good time, even though you're sick with it. So that's We the People. Anything else anybody want to mention? We're located abroad in Lombard in Center City, Philadelphia, and you're welcome to stop by any time if you're in Philadelphia. To our office, we're only open from Tuesday to Thursday from 10 to 6, and we are funded almost entirely by the city, some state money. It's about a $200,000 a year budget with a program with 3 paid staff. It's a very, you know, small program, but we think very effective. Let's begin. I don't know who wants to start. This is Ron's first time. We told you we're not. It's the first time he shared his experience. So we won't put him first. Maybe last. Yeah. Elaine, you want to start?
Yeah, I thought. Some people here know me already. For those who don't, I've been diagnosed for 6 years. There's a lot of us, so we won't have a lot of time to skip over that. Contrary to what most people think when I tell them I used to be an addict, I did not get infected from dirty needles. I got infected from my husband after being advised by my doctor that I did not have to go and get periodic testing because I was married and monogamous at 16. And I was married since I was 16 years old, 45 years. Consequently, he wound up dying from full-blown AIDS, and that's what made me finally go and get tested. After he died, I went and lived with my daughter. Upon getting diagnosed about a couple weeks later, my daughter immediately put me out, really, and essentially told me I had to hurry up and go because it was in the summer when I told her it was getting to be summer anyway, and she said the mosquitoes was coming in. So I had to go, and you know, after I stayed there for a while after watching her wash the walls down every time I took a shower and started buying different toothpaste and all that. And, you know, it became apparent to me that the situation was impossible for me to live there. So I left, and that began a lot of different, getting involved with a lot of different organizations and seeing that things were very atrocious for a woman. It's bad enough for a person, anybody that's infected, but really for a woman it's really terrible. I've been through a succession of doctors. I've never had who I could say is a good doctor until now, as of about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I've had different things wrong with me, the most serious of which I just found out last week, which is chlamydia, that I have had for the last 8 years of having it, because I wasn't having sex with my husband 2 years before he died, and he's been dead 6 years, and I'm not sexually active and having this. So I went to the hospital just for a regular checkup, and when I went back, there was a prescription in my chart, because they had taken a culture and found out that I had chlamydia. So that, among other things, other things that happened with the doctor I had previously made me be thinking about leaving him anyway, and this just really put the icing on the cake. I also feel very frustrated about all the agencies that are supposedly out there to help us, because they don't. Maybe if you're asymptomatic or full-blown, but like I just decided last week that I'm never going to ever qualify for anything from anywhere, because as I said, my T-cells are just about normal. I don't really need the help now because I finally got a Section 8 and housing. So housing, which was my worst problem, because most people that are HIV, if they get SSI, they have to survive. Now try to picture this. They have to survive off of about $426 a month. I was living in a place, my rent was $385. I mean, it was very good to me that I didn't never have an appetite, because if I did, I couldn't buy food, So the place I'm living now is a Section 8 where I only have to pay $122. I don't have to pay any gas or electric, and it's on the second floor. I thought I was going to die in the place I lived before because I was on the third floor. And someone in that place went through my trash, found out that I was HIV. I went out and came home one night, and all the things that I had tore up with AIDS on them and threw in the trash, somebody had took out and taped together and just put in front of my door. So I was afraid, because no matter how much you think maybe this thing has changed, it hasn't. I mean, the prejudice and all that, it hasn't. I mean, I just had an incident with a doctor about a month ago, and I'm trying to see if I can sue him right now, because everything I told him and asked him to keep confidential, he went out and told everybody.
Group of doctors.
And a lady, the receptionist, came down in the subway later that day and asked me how did I feel to have to live with AIDS. Now, this woman doesn't know me, but I mean, this man felt as though he had to put HIV positive on a piece of paper and circle it in red ink, and that's because I guess they're just used to that. And he was from a big hospital, Heinemann University, and I was real surprised that this is still going on, but it's still going on. And I really don't know what is going to have to happen with us women. I mean, I feel very lucky right now because my T-cells are very high. I'm going to do whatever I think needs to be done to try to get help for other people that are suffering, because there are some that are really suffering. And it's not that easy for a person, because they need housing or need this or need that, to get it, especially if they're just HIV. It's not that easy at all. So I don't know what y'all can write to y'all Congress people, or, whatever. It needs to be done. And places like We the People, which is the only place really I know that serves just an HIV asymptomatic person. But we're in danger of having to close. So it takes people to say how much we need this, to write to the powers that be to try to get us more funding, because that's the bottom line. We just don't have the money. And somebody has got, the longest journey starts with a single step. Somebody, somewhere has got to help and has to understand that this is not just her disease or his disease, it's everybody's disease. Because that's the way it's going. So, you know, at this point, that's all I can think of with that.
You're an old habit, but second or third time.
Yeah, this is the second time I've done this. The other, Rosemary and Leonard and I and one or two other guys did a training session at CPT.
Community college.
College of Philadelphia. Training about 2 or 3 weeks ago, training some nurses in human relations training vis-a-vis their relationships with HIV infected persons. So I want to apologize to both of you. This is the same story. It's not the same. The rest of you is new. About 2 years ago, I was changing jobs, and my profession is fundraising for nonprofit organizations. I got this fantastic job with the top consulting firm in the business, making like tons and tons of money, traveling all around, staying in fine hotels. They pay for your food, and they pay for your hotel, and you get mileage plus and everything. And you know, you don't even have to spend your $30,000, $35,000 check. So I was really happy about that, but I had to go for a pre-employment visit. And they sent me to this clinic that they work with here in Philadelphia, and the guy found a swollen lymph node in my groin area, which is, I mean, it's like, that had been there for years, right? It had not, they did a biopsy on it, it turned out to be absolutely nothing. I mean, when the guy said, you got this swollen lymph node in your groin area, I'm going like, stop it, man, get me to work. I mean, I knew it was nothing, but he said, you gotta go to this other doctor and, you know, have it tested. So I go to this other doctor, and he says, well, let's draw some blood. Okay, draw some blood. So the guy drew some blood, and he sends it out, and it comes back positive for syphilis. He said, but it's not really necessarily true that it's positive for syphilis, but we have a more specific test. I said, okay, so since we're doing that test, let's also do the test for AIDS. Well, I mean, I'm like, you know, I know who gets AIDS at AIDS. Go ahead, test. I don't know. So they took the AIDS test. Came back negative for syphilis. It was a false positive on the syphilis exam. But it was positive for the AIDS, for HIV virus, which caused me concern. Then he said, okay, let's do another test. And Klein Beckman had come out with a test that was specific for AIDS. So I'm going like, well, I mean, this is exactly the same as the syphilis test, man. You know, they were wrong the first time. Got to be wrong again. That test came back positive. So I was diagnosed with having human immunodeficiency virus. But he didn't tell the people I worked for. I mean, like, then they did the biopsy on the lymph node, and there wasn't anything wrong with that. So he said, okay, you can go to work. So I went to work for it. Like, when I got to work, man, I landed in Cleveland. I went out there to do a campaign in Cleveland. Landed. I was staying at the hotel. I walked to the hotel. I said, give me a double martini. And I drank martinis for like 3 days. And I stayed on that job for 3 days. My head was totally gone. I mean, I wasn't able to function. I wasn't able to think. I was dying. There was no question that I was not going to live. This was something like, I was getting ready to go into my last winter because I heard about the pneumonia. And like, I knew that winter was pneumonia time. So I was definitely, this is my last winter. And so I came back to Philadelphia and wound up getting another job. But never being, I mean, my head is still not back on straight. But I went through 2 years without getting any fault. They did a T-cell count. My T-cell count at that time, I was not with a doctor who was a specialist in human immunodeficiency virus. So what he told me was not what my T-cell count was, but that it was almost normal at that time. So I just said, okay, great, man, I'm well. Forget it. And I just denied it all. And now, about last month, March, about 2 months ago, I went and got another T-cell count after 2 years. And the doctor told me like it's down to like 300. Now, the normal human body has between 8 and 1,500 T4 cells when it's functioning at peak efficiency. So, like 300 is like, okay, now you're on AZT level. So I'm back, then I went back to, okay, this is my last winter. And that was 2 years ago, but I felt like it was that again. They put me on AZT in February. I started AZT. And my T-cell count is going up from 300 down to 400. I mean, it's a short time on AZT. Maybe it'll go up to more, I don't know. Major key important pieces, though, is that I was an active heterosexual male. And at the time that I was diagnosed, or the time that I may have been HIV positive, prior to being diagnosed, safe sex was, are we on the pill? So there's no real guarantee that there might be 1, 2, 3 other human beings who now are walking around and don't even know that they're HIV positive, who got something from me that I didn't even know that I had. So I think that one of the most definite points that I can make to a female audience about HIV infection, I mean, if you look at me, you're not going to go like, well, I really got to be careful here. Never trust anybody to be not HIV positive. Safe sex today doesn't mean I think it's safe. Safe sex today means you gotta be safe. I think I've done it all. I don't have any more to do right now.
I'm done. What, Rob?
Well, I've been diagnosed since last July, relatively new. I'm the newest one diagnosed. And when I first found out, I was a drug user. I was going to be a drug user, okay? And I always had that thought, not me, it wouldn't happen to me, not me, the next guy is going to happen, you know? So when I went into a rehab, and they asked me to take the test. So I took the test, and when I took it, it came up negative. So I said, oh, well, the whole time I was waiting for the results of the test, I was so worried that I was going to get it because I was indulging in risky behavior, sex and drugs, So I just knew I had it, but then it came back negative, so I felt relieved for a while. I just went back on to my reckless way of living, right? So I got mononucleosis. I got sick and I went back to the hospital. And while I was in there, the doctor asked me again, this was like about 6 months later, to take the test again. So I said, oh, well, okay, I'll take it because I couldn't be going no negative. I'm fine, I can take it. So I took it, and when I took it, I got out the hospital, and I failed to get the results. So I called back to the hospital trying to get to the doctor, and when I finally got in touch with him, he told me, oh, you're probably negative because he said before they put you on, when you're positive, before they put you on the computer as being positive, they always call me. So I said, oh yeah, you sure? And he said, yeah. So I had built up this courage and everything that I was fine, but I had to go to another rehab because I was drug using and I was really in bad shape, right? So I thought it was just from the drugs. So when I went into the Coastal Army Hospital. So by the doctor telling me he figured that I was all right, I felt good. About 2 days later, the nurse comes to find me. I'm in a group meeting, a group therapy session, and she comes and says, Ron, come out here to me. And, but only reason I thought something was wrong because she was the infectious disease lady. You know? So I figured all kinds of thoughts went through my mind. Bang, bang, bang. You know? When I get there, she tells me, well, the doctor just called, and he said that you're HIV positive. So then the first thought that came in my mind, oh Lord, I'm gonna kill over and die. I'm dead. You know? And because, you know, you see what's on TV, like they make you sound like as soon as you get the virus, the next day you're dead. That's it. You know? But it doesn't work like that. The way Lynn was trying to explain to you, see, you can get tested 6 months apart and the antibodies don't develop in your body and they can't detect the virus, but you still can spread the virus. So, you know, all this time between the 6 month period, I was having sex and using gloves and everything, and I was spreading it to people and I didn't know. So then finally, when I did get my diagnosis, it was after that trying to live, trying to figure out what I was going to do, because I felt real alone in the world, in this world, because of all the stereotypes that people had put on the virus, which is true, you know, it is very dangerous, and it will kill you, terminal, and it wasn't no cure, so I was really, really scared. One thing it did for me, it stopped me from using drugs. I don't use drugs anymore. I don't have any desire to use drugs anymore. And what I did do was try to devote my life to helping other people. It took me a long time to come around to that. At first I was so scared. I tried to put it off on my mother. I said, oh, it's going to kill my mom, it's going to kill my mom. But in all the time it was really me. And the nurse told me, she said, moms are stronger than you think. So when I went home and I told my mom, and she said, what are we going to do now? What do we do? You know, but I still haven't told the rest of my family because of the rejection that I'm afraid that I might get. You know, if I was to get sick or something like that, I don't know what would happen if it wasn't for my mother. Because I've heard so many horror stories about people being mistreated, you know, by their families, turning away from them, you know, treating them like they got the plague. And, you know, I just don't know what I would do if it wasn't for my mom. But I just have to stress to you that, it's like you were saying, with anybody you get involved with, you know, just be advised that nobody really can say who has and who doesn't. Just, you know, so just protect yourself. Be very, very, very careful. Okay? I'm sweating and
Okay, thank you, Rosemary?
My name is Rosemary, and I'm 45 years old. I was diagnosed when I was 50 years. I was a drug abuser. I got drugs for 26 years. I've been clean 12 years now. Yeah, and I lost children through my addiction. I lost my home, my cars. And I went through like $100,000 in like, gosh, I guess about 6-8 weeks. I went to jail. I've been to jail. I went to Muncie. I did 6 years. I didn't harm anybody, you know, but I was working and so I didn't want to pay me, so I just took $50 of my pay. And I went when I was 16. I came out when I was 21. My parents were both dead. I cold turkey after 26 years. I went to I find myself in a hotel room and I did it. I was determined. My mother had passed, and my mother had said to me, you know, you may never never have everything in life, and you may not be rich, and you know, I don't know what's in the past, but whatever it is, I want you to get off some drugs, and I want you to be a normal, everyday person that people will respect. And I did it for her. I did it for me. And, I get very upset when people say they can't do something. Nothing is said. You can do it, you know. When I was diagnosed, I was at a VNA hospital, and everybody in the hospital knew that I had this virus before I did. Right down to the cleaning people, okay? They knew it for a whole month before I did. And I went in, I think I had a hernia operation, and they took the test on me, and they didn't tell me, they just taken the test. And that's another problem that we have, you know, that the people have, because they'll test you illegal. And, you know, it's up to you to do what you can. It's a hard battle, okay? But when I went back to the hospital, they put me in this end of the hallway, you know, and like, they put my sheets in trash cans. I wasn't allowed to do visitors. I wasn't allowed to talk to people. I had no phone. I had no television. They had big signs on my doors, and they fed me off of paper plates and paper trays.
Yeah, you still haven't told you anything.
No, I didn't even know that I had it. I'm going to tell you, it was like so ridiculous. I mean, I had vaguely heard about AIDS, and when they came in to tell me that I had it, they just came to my room and they said to me, okay, you're going to die, you have AIDS. And I said, get out of here. I didn't ask for no AIDS from anybody. I didn't need your help. You know, I did well by taking care of myself, you know, very independent. and it was like, you know, they just couldn't make me, it wouldn't sink in, I guess. And finally they said to me, they said, you're going to die. And I said, everybody's going to die, you know, but I still don't need your help. You know, I don't need your help to die either, you know, really. But it was very hard for me to like understand what they were saying to me, okay? All I knew was I was going to die. That's all I got out of the deal is I was going to die, okay? And I was in this apartment, I lived in this apartment with one room on 7th Street in North Philly, and I stayed in this room for like 3 years. And I wouldn't come out, and I wouldn't bother with people, and my landlord used to shove my mail up under my door, and I would shove my check back out, and recash it, and shove it back under, and I mean, like, it was like real hell, okay? I used to weigh about 500 pounds, I'm down to 202 now, okay? Yeah, and you know, my sister, I have a sister, I have one sister. It took us 44 years to become friends. You know, we was never friends. We was never anything. We was just, she was, you know, my blood sister, that was it, you know. But we're friends today, you know. I treasure a friend, okay? It's something that I have very few of because I never let anybody be my friend. Drugs was my friend. Drugs was my life, you know. I hate to say this in a way that I hope you don't misunderstand me, okay? Since I've been diagnosed, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me because now I have a direction in my life. I know what I want. I've dedicated myself to this disease because I'm living with it. You know, it's not something that somebody can tell me. It's something that I'm living with as well as the rest of us here. You know, and it's real. It's a hell. It's a hell disease. Okay. I am just now coming out of hepatitis. My liver is not functioning right now. I've had hepatitis for like the last 2 or 3 months, and I was walking around with it, and they couldn't even tell me. They thought I had PCP. In January, I went in the hospital. I had my blood count was like 2.7. I had my sugar was way up high, and my liver and my pancreas and my skin was all messed up. And this is the first time I haven't been able to bounce back. You know, I feel like an old bat right now because I can't get it together right now. You know, I want so hard to get it together again. You know, because I've always been strong. And right now I'm not strong. You know, I know it comes with the territory. I know, you know, that I'm going to have it. Okay? And I just try to do the best I can. We the people, without we the people, I would be nothing. I would be nowhere. I would be sitting in a room brooding. They have gave me motivation. They have gave me a chance to feel important that I'm somebody. You know, we the people is a great place. Okay? They got a lot of bullshit with them, but everybody does. Okay? But they've been wonderful to me. They have gave, and they put up with me, you know. I always think that I've been there a year this month. Okay? And I have been out more than I've been in here of late because I've been rather sick. I go through a lot of my problems because this fellow that I was living with, he shot battery acid in my arm. He wanted to kill me, and but he can't kill me. Thank you. I'm going to be around when it's sure coming. Yeah, I try each day to make each day just a little bit more better than the day before. You know, sometimes it's hard. I don't always feel like laughing, smiling, and grinning. You know, but I understand a little bit better now than I did before. You know, but you'll never know, okay? The door is going to knock on. You know, you could be fine now, and years from to come, you know, God forbid, I'm not saying that you will, but I'm saying that you could have come into contact with it. I'm a heterosexual woman, and the only thing that I was really into was like drugs. You know, sexually I was never active. Now I'm becoming a nut. You know, because I've been, you know, like, I've decided to like, well, truthfully, I hate men. You know, I hate them, you know.
Don't get out with your mind right now.
I say that because, okay, a man is who gave me this. Okay? That's what I hate about him. You know, I mean, I don't really hate the men to be, you know, men because there was men in my life. Okay? Ain't gonna be no more. But, I mean, that's what I see when I look at a man. I see them giving it to somebody else. I see them destructing lives. I see them, you know, I mean, that's something that I deal with myself. Okay? But, I mean, I really don't hate them. Don't get me wrong. You know, I don't hate, you know, people. I mean, I can understand, you know, I get along better with the gay male. Okay? I guess in my head, okay, because I'm a very strange one. I guess in my head, I'm looking at them like they think they're women like us, so therefore I can deal with them better. Okay? And that's good to an extent because otherwise I'd be like very rude, you know. But this virus, like I never thought that I could hold a group. Okay? I was involved in another group as well as Elaine was. She was like, I think, one of the first ones in the other group, right? Yeah, she was one of the first, you know. And I just sat there and I used to always wonder about it, you know, if we could really do it, okay? There's a lot of things I don't know about the virus, even still to this here day, okay? I want to learn all there is. I read a lot. I participate in a lot of things. I'm getting ready to do the buddy training for Action Aid. You know, I did their last one in January. I'm going to do it again this month. And on the weekends, I'm a very active person. On the weekends, I work at Dominic's beauty shop when I'm able to get up and get out. You know, and I say to we the people as much as I can. They think I live there sometimes. I visit people in the hospital. I live in a Marion Homes. I live in a home that's for all people that have the HIV virus you know. If I ever get like the infections and things, which I'm not looking forward to, but, I can, like go out on the track program on the housing program. I don't really understand that, because it's like you have to have 2 feet in the grave before you can get out there. I don't see how much you can enjoy, you know. I'd like to go while I still got that smoke going, you know, so I can like enjoy life, you know. But, if it's not too big, I can deal with it too. I've learned how to climb the hump, you know, and, but this virus has like taught me that you just don't take nothing for granted. You don't take anybody for granted, and you don't take anything for granted, okay? In January when I was in the hospital, they said that I had the worst outburst of syphilis that anybody has ever had. I didn't even know I had syphilis. I never knew I had syphilis. Right now I'm going through a problem with my legs and things, it's swelling up. But it's because, my liver and my kidneys and things are like, they're malfunctioning, they don't wanna work right now. They need a vacation, I guess, I don't know. But, I'm trying to get through that, and I'm trying to get through this hep, you know, because it's like kicking me in the foot. I've always been able to bounce back, and this time it was really, you know, hard for me. But, that's about it, I don't know, not much more I can like tell you about. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Leonard. I've been a practicing homosexual all my adult years, and since the age where I hit the gay community very early and hard, I was aware of it, but it's funny how you can be kind of aware of it, concerned about it, but yet not that knowing, but just knowing that it was causing a lot of death. And my last lover, his name was Thad, died of AIDS in '85. That was about 3 or 4 years, about 6 years after we had our last sexual contact. So I didn't assume that I contracted the virus from him. But I knew that I had lovers, but promiscuous. So I assumed that I contracted the virus through probably anal sex, and probably in about '84 or '85. Not sure just exactly when, but because it was hitting the age was hitting the gay community pretty hard, I began finally practicing safe sex. Ironically, by the time I was diagnosed, I was with a lover, and we were both using condoms and having sex together, but we both had the virus. It was too late for the safe sex. I'm proud of the gay community, though, that they did respond quite well to the virus, and actually the percentage of people with the virus in the gay community is going down, and the gay community is pretty well educated itself, and the rest of society has to follow it. And having the safe sex workshops and so forth, I know we the people are sponsoring a safe sex workshop this Saturday, and that's good, and it's been part of the gay community for a long time. When I was paranoid about any kind of health problem, and so when I had a fever, which is uncharacteristic, I saw my doctor, and she suggested complete blood count, and they tested me, and my platelets, which is a part of the body blood that coagulates the blood, was very low, so low that I thought I might have internal bleeding, so they rushed me to the hospital, and they treated me for this, and because it's an uncharacteristic problem, they gave me what is now archaic, the ARC diagnosed AIDS-related complex, having disease which was related to AIDS. And while I was in the hospital being successfully treated for that, they went into my bone marrow to do a test, and they found a fungus which they thought to be AIDS-related, and they gave me the AIDS diagnosis. And both the ARC and the AIDS was given to me by the medical community without any kind of counseling. And it wasn't so much after the ARC diagnosis, but after the AIDS diagnosis, that it was the low point in my life. I was not suicidal, but my lover at the time was suicidal, and I was trying to orchestrate his salvation. That kind of kept me a little sane. And that was the low point of my life. I began writing my will. I was sure I was dying. See, I was part of the gay community, but not aware of what AIDS was, and to me, I associated with death. And even today, most people associate AIDS and death, or HIV with AIDS, and which is the biggest misconception. So I was treated in the hospital. I felt discrimination. The dietitian was afraid to come into my room. She left the food cart outside, My food was left outside the door. Had all these signs, of course, which I can understand, but they did overkill, and they didn't clean my room adequately. And we've done surveys of PWAs, and the biggest discriminators are dentists. 90% don't like to treat people who are HIV, but the medical community is a big offender. Doctors, by their failure to give, I think none of us really had too much real counseling for this virus. So that's really cruel and unusual punishment by the medical community to give you what you consider to be a terminal, definitely a death sentence, and without any kind of consultation, and say you get your papers in order, you got 1 year to live, and what doctor has the right to say, he can't play God, you don't know. Your doctor said 1 year, right? 2 years, and that was 6 years.
And I went back to school last year.
So the doctors could be, they're good, but that's a very bad side of the medical community. So I was treated successfully. After I left the hospital, I haven't been in the hospital since, and that was 5 years ago. So I'm starting my 6th year of living with the virus. For the first 2 years, I was in denial. I kept my work. I just went on as if life didn't make any difference. I was healthy as far as I was concerned. I didn't practice unsafe sex, but and my lover and I, that definitely did practice safe sex. But that on for 2 years. But then I joined a support group, and I really encourage everybody in America to join a support group. There's one group for everybody, Yeah, either eat too much, or your sex, or whatever, AA and NA. There's so many different groups, and her daughter joined a group that was very helpful. Yeah, very helpful. The daughter who threw her out of her house. Now she went to a support group for families and friends of those who are HIV positive. Immediate family. So that helped, and so her relationship with her daughter is much better now because her daughter's gone to that support group. And my situation was much better because I began to realize, there's lots of other people out there with the same kind of problem. There was about 30 people that met at Graduate Hospital with Mary Cochran, a psychiatrist, and I got my first AZT. I began to network, and it's very important with this disease to network with all kinds of people. And these people are all my friends, and most of my best friends today are fellow HIV people. And we share notes about doctors and what's the latest medications, and I'm finding out information all the time. So this is the best support system. And a lot of funerals for HIV people or for AIDS, the people that come are mostly, HIV community. And in many cases, families reject. I would say 1/3 of all family members totally reject people who are HIV positive. 1/3. Like with my mom, who's a good, wonderful Christian woman, and has been an elder in the Presbyterian Church most all her life. She feels AIDS is the wrath of God on those who are gay. And I've never told her I was gay. Last summer, she's 80, and she thought I was gay, and I had to say, oh no, I'm not gay, because we had this big tears thing. But I haven't told her because it would just worry her to death, so I just don't deal with it. I always tell people that if you're going to tell your family, make sure you have literature and information to get to them, because like her daughter turned around it. And I know most families, your daughter's a nurse, very well-educated woman, and yet she had this. So that's a real problem for HIV people. And that's why psychiatric help is so important. And that's why suicide is seriously considered by everybody who's HIV positive, oftentimes after the initial diagnosis. So that, that's why it's so important to have all kinds of backup support initially when somebody's diagnosed with this disease. And I said, my lover was considered suicide, but Elaine, you were suicidal. You were isolated for 3 years. It's very common to have these horrible experiences. So psychiatric help is extremely important, and that's why it's so important to be part of support groups and to counsel people that they're going to need, and get special help after this diagnosis. So I joined that support group, and I found out about We the People as an organization. And actually, I got involved in '88. I joined the board in July of '88. I've been involved ever since as a board member and very active. And that's been the most important thing in my life, and it's really been the most helpful thing to me, is that involvement with We the People. how has my life changed? I've given up alcohol and basically marijuana, and I'm much more concerned about nutrition and health. I've read Badgley's book, Lawrence Badgley's book, Healing Age Naturally. It talks about the need for vitamin supplements. Most Americans don't understand and appreciate about nutrition the way they should. Everybody in America is, I mean, all of your immune systems are being impaired by the water and the air and the food you eat. The McDonald's diet is, not the Neanderthal diet we had 200 years ago. And 200 years ago, people in America were not dying of cancer and sugar diabetes because they ate well, and they didn't have the sugar, which should be labeled poison, on your shelf. And so I think everybody, that's one of the things I would suggest to you is really in your education, study microbiotics and nutrition, and be concerned about it for yourself and your family and your kids. That's so important. I've done that. I take supplements. Most nutritionists who are well informed, Dr. Art Lange is one of my gurus. She's written a book called AIDS. It's not just out yet, but it soon will be. AIDS is a chronic, manageable, survivable disease. And that's my attitude. And that's what your attitude should be when you talk to anybody who's HIV positive. AIDS is a chronic, manageable, survivable disease. Obviously, people are living much longer. All of us are testament to that. And I want to be there when they have the cure. Medical science has made great advances. I've been taking AZT for almost 2.5 years, and I attribute my health to that drug. It doesn't cure you, but it suppresses the virus in your body. Now I'm taking DDC, which is a country cousin of AZT. It's available on compassionate use now to doctors. It should go on the over-the-counter prescription market in about May or June. So that if anybody's having trouble with AZT, which most people do because it suppresses the bone marrow's ability to produce red and white cells, which is ironic, So it really hurts the immune system, and most people are anemic as a result of taking AZT, and oftentimes have to have blood transfusions. We're really thankful, I think, in the AIDS community about the advances made by medicine. The leading cause of death is pneumocystis pneumonia. 70% of all people with the AIDS virus died of that. The leading cause of death among babies the first year and we just found out, if you read the paper just recently, that the New England Medical Journal came out with the thing that they now are telling doctors what to give babies. So babies' lives with this virus are now being extended 2 or 3 years. Now instead of 2-year life expectancy, babies can have 4 and 5, 6 years life expectancy. So everybody's being helped by the medical sciences advances. We're very thankful. I took Bactrim pill to prevent pneumocystis. Now I'm taking aerosol pentamidine, which I breathe in once a month for about 15 to 20 minutes. Aerosol into my lungs, and that keeps me, because all of you have the PCP pneumonia in your body, but your immune systems are strong enough so they can fight it off. But if your immune system becomes impaired, like mine is, then I could get it. Once you get below 200 T cells, that's the white generals, the generals for the white immune system. It gets below 200, then your immune system's in trouble, and you need special help like the aerosol pentamidine, which I've been taking. So we can be very thankful for the advances made by, and that's why today people can be tested, and it's important to be tested early. When my lover died of AIDS in '85, he knew he had a skin cancer, but he was afraid. There's nothing medical science could do for him. But now, if somebody's tested, they may have a chronic, manageable disease for the rest of their life. And so I think you should encourage people to be tested. If they've had some, they followed a lifestyle, or they've had sex with somebody they're not sure about, be tested. And if you are HIV positive, you may have a long life, and certainly much longer. And each month, they're making more advances, people are living longer. So let's look at this positively, AIDS, as a chronic, manageable, survivable disease. But realize we've got all kinds of problems. Discrimination is rampant. The medical community, the dentists, the hospital staff. We found in our surveys that 1/4 of all people who tell their employers that they have the virus, they're fired, even though they can continue doing their work. 25%. So you've got to be very concerned about anonymity. And if somebody is tested, tell them to get a anonymous test, where you just give out a number rather than a name, because you don't want your name in the computer, because your insurance company might find out about it, or your employer. So you've got to be, anonymity. And you talked about the problem of doctors being very careless, and people do give this information out, and it hurts many, many people. And today, if you are HIV positive, you definitely need a lawyer, because there's the AIDS Law Project. If you know anybody who has a problem with, there's an AIDS Law Project, and I think everybody I've talked to,
Oh yeah, I forgot they're handling, when I got this place I moved to, I had to get a psychiatric evaluation. And my confidentiality was broken on that psychiatric evaluation. As a result, the manager called me to her office and told me that if I take pains for anybody, to keep anybody from finding out, I would have to move because of the fear of the people. So I'm asking advice from the AIDS Law Project about how to pursue that.
Discrimination. I talked to Scott Burrows, who's with the ACLU in Philadelphia, and he said that the cases, there's more and more cases of discrimination. I had some housemates who were Navy people, and they were supposed to get 100% disability. The Navy was only giving them 10%. They consulted the AIDS Law Project. They called the Navy. Now they get their full benefits. I know this fellow, well, actually he's living with me, is Larry. He's HIV positive, and while he was in the hospital, his friend ran away with all his belongings and had his power of attorney and abused it and wasn't paying his bills. So the AIDS Law Project is suing this man for $20,000. So it's so important to have a lawyer, because in so many cases of discrimination by employers, they fire you. You want to continue working, but they fire you. So there's rampant discrimination by dentists and doctors and a lot of professional people. So you really have to be concerned about and tell people to use the AIDS Law Project or a good lawyer. Anything else I want to say about myself? Just that I live with the reality of taking pills 3 times a day, and I'm aware about death much more. But I think it's good to have a little more sense of that we are terminal, and that you want to think about a right relationship with your maker. You want to think about living a day at a time, make the next day, as Rosemary said, better than today. So there's a lot of advantage, in having this kind of something over your shadow over your shoulder, and you think a little more seriously about life. And for many people who've been drug abusers, their life is 100% better than it was before, and that's wonderful. And I feel that my life has more meaning now. I'm living a better life, a cleaner life, a life with more meaning. And so, in some ways, there's most things. There's a rainbow, and in any cloud there's there's a silver lining. And you look at 2 ways of looking at everything. And so many ways we can look at life and be positive about it. But what's so sad is that so many people die so quickly. Women, for instance, die the quickest. The life expectancy of a woman with HIV. And the medical community doesn't know how to treat women. They don't know about yeast infections, which are very common with, the doctors know that a yeast infection in a man, which is called thrush, is one of the common denominators of the disease with men. But you want to talk about your experience with yeast infection?
I kept getting yeast infections, and I did find out that it wasn't yeast infections. That was the chlamydia I had. But all the time, this is why I was so amazed that the doctor never told me, because I was going to the doctor and I was getting a pelvic exam about every month. And this has been going on for about 4 years, so there was no reason for the doctor for somebody not to have picked up, that I had something wrong. And then if a person just keeps coming with this urinal infections or yeast infections, it's time to start looking at something else.
See, the doctors understand and appreciate. They know what the symptoms in a man, but not in a woman. And I was told that recently the doctors at the health clinics in Philadelphia were given a lecture about how AIDS affects women, and their jaws were dropped. They didn't understand it. So the reality is that doctors themselves do not understand and appreciate how the AIDS virus affects women. And so these are very good doctors, So women really get a raw deal in all regards when it comes to they can't get in drug trials. It's very hard for women. So and women die the quickest. So women are the ones that are really most being hurt by the virus, and our society is not dealing with it.
And most of the women that die without ever reaching any of the diseases on that criteria list that the CDC has. Even though they might be suffering with PCP or some other disease, they never get where they can get benefits or they can be classified to have AIDS, because the CDC diseases are based on a male model.
Yeah, the male model, not the female model. So they need a female model
you know, that we were talking about the thrush, I had thrush in my throat. Matter of fact, I still have some, okay? But, I had it for like last year sometime. And I kept going to the doctor and I kept telling them, you know, and they kept telling me I had PCP. I didn't have PCP, I had the test. And I've been carrying it around for all these months, you know? But, at first they told me that I may be infectious, you know, I could have contracted it from another person or something, because we do come in contact with all types of people. There's all people from all walks of life that come through our place, you know, so, they had said that they thought I was that, you know, but this whole time, they did not know that I had thrush in my throat. You know, the men, I think, you know, did the men get it in their throat?
No, but the women get yeast infections, you know, other areas, so the doctor's not aware of this.
I didn't know, and they was not giving me no medication. I cannot take the ACT. I can't take the Camion treatment. I'm allergic to about 40 different medicines, you know. I have to wing it. I just have to swing with it, you know, whatever it is that I have, I just have to let it work out of me, which I hope I can continuously always do, you know. But I don't qualify for the DBI. My T cells are too low. And the AZT, like, really screws me up. You know, it messes up my vision in my eyes, and, you know, it dropped my blood so low, I had to have blood transfusions, and, I had the constant diarrhea, and, I was sick all the time, and I just couldn't take it. I cannot take the AZT at all. So, right now, I'm like winging it, you know, and I'm hoping that it'll, you know, that eventually I will be able to, find something, we'll be able to find something, because I can't take that breathing treatment. That breathing treatment is very important to us, because it keeps our lungs, you know, clean and healthy, you know.
Okay, I think we should open it for questions, but, so any questions, appropriate, either a general question or a specific to member of the panel, whatever. And anything is fair game. The question here, yes.
I know that different groups have been trying to get the CDC to change their list to make it less specific and more generalized for people to qualify. Has there been any improvement from that at all, or are they still people with the same thing?
They are being sued right now, the CDC and the Social Security Administration, because they refuse to change their criteria. And like I said, some women, mostly women, but I imagine other people could die without ever, you know, meeting any of those diseases. And I think it's a couple of diseases on there women very, very even get. You know, so it's like you have to be almost dead.
And the state of Pennsylvania has a list of about 5 diseases that are drugs, 5 drugs that are available, like AZT. Anybody in Pennsylvania, if their income is less than $25,000, for instance, you can get AZT. It's available. But there's 5 drugs, but in some states, like California, there's about 11 drugs. So it's necessary to expand the number of drugs that are available at no cost to people. And that's a constant problem in the various states, where most every state has a free drug program. But so it's a constant struggle to expand the list and expand the diseases and the medications.
I'm trying to join every kind of group that's fighting against things that I can, because, you know, like I said, I feel that I'm one of the lucky ones that's well enough and able to get out there and fight. And I feel like it's my duty to do it for those that can. I sort of feel like I have been in a black tunnel and have risen, you know. And I think it's only right to I think you have to, like a lot of people against ACT UP, but I think you have to, in this instance, ACT UP, you know, in order to get things done.
Right, because they tried to say the only nursing home that was devoted for people with AIDS the top nursing home, I know I'm on the board of directors there, and I guess it's still not gonna open. I mean, how sad it is. It's the whole state of Pennsylvania, no nursing home for people who are HIV positive. You know, it's just ridiculous. And the state of Pennsylvania has just dragged their heels, and they could have, you know, opened it, and they could have given them, you know, because the problem was if people are on welfare and don't have medical insurance, then obviously if you run a place like an AIDS nursing home, you're going to need a lot more help from the state and federal government. Medicaid has got to be increased from the $74 to $140, and they weren't able to get the state to agree to that, and it's just tragic. But ACT UP took over the nursing home and made a big issue of it. I went to Harrisburg with ACT UP, and we burnt Casey's budget, and you know we took over Casey's headquarters, and when the governor was inaugurated, there was all these you know gay and activists and other people ACT UP protesting the low funding, because Pennsylvania spent last year they cut their funding for AIDS from 1.5 million this year to $500,000. It's ridiculous, you know, almost no funding. But Pennsylvania is laggardly and way behind in all areas of health areas. You know, if you health matters, Pennsylvania is, you know, near the bottom of the list. Other questions? We must have more questions, I'm sure.
I don't know if you would know anything about this, but I read an article recently that there's a lot of studies coming out of people like you who had HIV for so long, and you know, symptoms that they're starting to do a lot of research into the fact that it might not be the thing maybe, and there might be something else. In fact, the French doctor who was co-discoverer of HIV has come out and said that he was wrong, and I was wondering if you know anything about the research or anything about it at all.
There were articles in the Native, I think, US Native about the doctor is now
But Monday they started giving me tests to see why it is that I've been well and my T cells have risen, even though I hardly ever eat. You know, I do have some other things that are associated with HIV. So they have started testing to see if it's true that there is some ingredient in my body that maybe can help develop something that might help somebody else, or do I have something else and not HIV?
Can I get to learn something here from it? What is this? Can you clarify what this thing that this doctor's doing that he's not right? Do you have more information?
There are two doctors that discovered HIV virus, Robert Gallo in the United States, and I can't remember the man in France. But the man in France at the last AIDS conference got up and said, I don't think that this is all it can be. It can't just be HIV.
he thinks it's covariant.
So you think it's more
So I
than
think there's
just
something else, because so many people have
human
HIV that aren't getting sick, and have, you know, because at first they were saying, well, 5 years and then 10 years,
Yeah.
now they just don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of people saying there's got to be something else that's causing it,
Yeah.
also not just the virus.
Well,
But people are, you know, people walk down on him, and I think it's hard for them to do that research.
I know that this is it's an interesting virus because it changes. Yeah, the virus continuously changes, which is what makes it so hard to fight, and also part of what makes it so very hard to catch. When you think about, and this, some of you probably are going to wind up knowing somebody that's relatively close to you that has the HIV infection. And I think that it might be interesting to talk for a second about some things that you might want to know about that. Number one, it's a very lonely place to be. It's like when you find out that you have this thing, it's not your immediate interest to go out and tell your best friends that that's where you're at. Because of all the prejudices that you know exist in the society, you become very, very careful about who you share that information with. And then there's even once you share that information, there's a continuing lack of trust that information has been well received and well digested by the person or people with whom you shared it. And I think it's important that those of us who sit before groups like this remind you that any disease that has to be caught by having sex or sharing needles is not the easiest disease in the world to catch. And And if you're talking to somebody who's close to you who has caught the disease, they're very worried about you not understanding that, and they're very worried about other people about who they might share that information with and how that information might be accepted. So try to feel as privileged as you can about the trust relationship and trust level that those people are having you. And remember that you're not going to catch this unless you do those things that were prescribed as transmittable vehicles.
There's something I'd like to say as far as like the disease is concerned and us as people, okay? We don't want you pity. You know, we don't want you to feel sorry for us. Help us. Just don't give us your sorrow, okay? You know, that's real important.
I gotta let you.
I want you to help yourself. I want you to help yourself. And I want you to be very aware that you and ladies are more at risk than a guy. Because for a man to catch HIV virus from a lady, so that broken skin or something like that, you know. But for a male and a male female, the concentration of the virus is so large that you can catch it so fast. And, you know, you just have to protect yourself, take care of yourself, and this, you know, you say that this is very serious. It really is, and like I had a situation like you were saying about the loneliness and stuff. When I came home from the hospital, I went and told my best friend, one of my friends who I grew up with, I tried drugs with, I just knew I could tell him. So I went to him, I got all hired up because I just wanted to kill myself. So I just went and just got so high I couldn't do nothing else, you know, and then I went and found him and I said, man, I did it this time. He said, what you talking about? I said, I did, I got that virus. I went right to his house, he had a guy there with him. When I got to his house, he was offering me and the guy a drink, you know, like a cold drink, like some juice, right? So he gave me a glass, poured my juice in the glass, and poured his in the glass. He reached out and offered me some ice. I went to take the ice, and the guy said, you let him touch that ice and he got that virus? And I was like, I told you, man, I didn't tell him. You know, and I had to leave because I was devastated. I was already trying to kill myself with the drugs, right? He took me over his house, supposed to be trying to get me around to make me feel better, and then he made me feel good. But after that, I seen him about 2 weeks later, and I lied to him. I said, oh, you know I told you I had that virus? Well, they had a wrong diagnosis, man. I thought I had it. You know, but I don't know if he believed me or not, but, you know, I try to inject a little bit of doubt in there so he won't run around spreading them around and telling everybody, you know, but just protect yourself. That's how you can help me.
Also, there's a like people who are HIV positive. That's a very strange place to be.
Any more questions?
Well, we must have did a bang up
You did.
Have you learned anything from that?
Yeah.
Where's the videotape of
Well, if I was instrumental in trying to help you learn something that might save your life, thank God.
If you take anything else out of here, take out your detail.
That's right. You know, I thank God. You know, that
Good.
giving me this, you know, like the strength and the power to go around and try to help other people now. Because that's all I can really do. Is try to help other people and try to live with this virus. That's the key word in that phrase is live with this virus. Okay?
You know, in my group that I have the women feeling that way, I have women that brings their children. You know, I love it. because I love little people. I lost 6 of my own. I had a set of twins before I carried them all 9 months they were born dead. It's like it's good to me, okay, to have these children around me, okay. I would like to go to the children's hospital when I start getting a little stronger again. And I would like to start working with women with children. I mean, women, yes, right, it's going to happen, right? Anyway, I would like to work with children that have the AIDS virus. You know, it's good that you know, we have them. They come into groups. The names are in my group. A couple times we have a little roughneck. Some of them a little roughneck, you know. But I think it would be real exciting to learn, you know, about the children. My sister, she had 6 sets of twins, and she had 10 boys and 2 girls. And when I and my other brother had 3 sets of twins, and my other brother had, my brother, he just passed. I have a brother that's in prison right now. He's doing, he has 99 years for the state, and he has 240 years for the feds. And they diagnosed him with AIDS while he's been there, and he's really sick. He's in Huntington, and he's extremely sick. I haven't seen him for about 10 years, but I'm getting ready to go out and see him.
Have you ever seen anybody die from AIDS?
No.
I have, and that I'm asking her
Yeah, because you
considering working with them children.
Yeah.
I lived with a guy that had carpal
Yeah, right,
tunnel
that's
and
right.
watched him die, and I was asked afterwards to work with children at St. Christopher, and I couldn't do it because that death took so much out of me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the fact that he was so brave about it, you know, and like that last morning when he died, his only thought was whether or not he could hang on until I got to the methadone clinic and back. And this man...
Was he driving?
No! This man was in so much pain that the doctor had given me just morphine. How you say that? Just give it to him when he needed, you know. And it just took so much out of me, you know, that I decided I could get close to a child and know that child was going to die.
Anybody.
We've had I have went through a little thing with a lady that lives in our program. She's one of the first women since I've been in the program. I've been in the program at Marion Homes. It's communal living. It's an independent living. But anyway, she's the first woman that has passed, and she died on Holy Thursday. And I've for the last 3 months, she's went through spinal meningitis. That's something else that we get pretty quickly too, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
We being women or we being HIV?
No, just HIV.
Just HIV, yeah, it's very,
And that was...
But, yeah, but this lady, okay, this is the first lady that I watched, you know. I watched her for the last 3 months, and she just, I don't know, I guess she just couldn't fight no more, you know, and she left her. But we have another fella in our house, and it's kicking my ass every day, you know, because I'm watching him slowly deteriorate. And I'm not God, and I can't stop it. No matter how I want to, you know, I can't. And I just constantly keep wondering, you know, if this is going to be me. You know, when my day is. Yeah. We had a memorial for her last night. I really wanted to feel about it. Now, she can't be forgotten. She's one of us girls. You know, and we held a memorial for her last night. And I feel great about that. You know, we the people hold memorials for people, too. I wish each one of you would come to We the People someday and just spend a day with us. We'd have fun. Pretty exciting. Very interesting
Yeah.
and different. But you would like it, you know. I really believe you would, and then you could understand better what the place is doing for us.
Come the day when we had the dinner.
Oh, yeah, come and rub with them.
Yeah,
You know, food is, you know, eating is very important. Your nutritious diet, you know, that you eat the right things. It's important for us, you know. I'm fine with I don't eat right. I'm a junk food eater. You know, but I enjoyed that salad today. I don't know whether it was good. I enjoyed that salad very much.
No, no, no.
But, you know, my sister, she took all of her children and had them tested. She said, you cannot see your nieces and nephews no more.
See, that's the hardest part.
And I said, well, that's all right. If I can't see them, they're still in my mind and in my heart. You know, and they'll always be there with me, you know. But, now my sister, they went to counseling and stuff. And she got it together a little, you know. And she's very supportive of me now, okay? She still can't understand why. You know, that's the only thing that she asks me constantly. And when she says why to me, I just say to her, I don't know. I can't answer it, you know. It must have been God's will for me to be one of the fortunate ones to contract it, you know. I don't know. I can't answer that why question yet. Possibly someday I will. You know, I don't think anybody can answer why.
I just feel like the Lord, we was after drugging, sexing, doing everything. Like, man, we would go. Every now and then we get in trouble. I done been in jail cells saying, Lord, get me out of this. I'm gonna do this. And he was like, he got tired of that. He said, well, look, I tell you what. Let me see how strong you really are. What you gonna do now? So you know what I did? Instead of just peeping back at him every now and then, now I'm looking straight at him. Good one.
All right.
Good one.
I didn't think about that. I say he's saving me for something awful special. Yeah, I say it. You know.
I throw it down for what he did.
That's the only thing. All right.
Peep back. Lord, please. Yeah, you know, but I'm doing good, thank God. Fellas, like I got any?
Got a big tummy there.
But tell me what it has to look like. Tell me what you feel a person has to look like to have.
That's right. That's what I would like them to tell me.
Yeah.
What does a person look like? Happy look like?
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
I don't think anybody on the panel today looks like. I know I'm talking to fun, honey. You know, I know I don't look like that. So I mean, but there's no one that I do believe. Yeah.
Personal question. What do you do about sex?
I don't do it.
Man, don't you know that?
I don't do
Because
it.
they don't do it.
Yeah, I do it, but I prefer people who are HIV positive, and most of my sex partners now are HIV positive. We have singles teas for gays, and we have one Saturday coming up, but I'm going to go see many.
I have not been involved in sex for the last 5 years. I refuse.
I'm going to tell you
Well,
this. Now, look,
you know.
the first time when they told me, right, Lord, I was scared about dying and all that, but the worst part was my sex license cut off. I was like, oh, Lord, I can never have another woman. But then everybody told me, yes, you can, yes, you can. And I said, okay, give me this, safe sex. I said, okay. Now, trouble is, find somebody to have it with. Okay, now, nobody, I feel a little, my confidentiality, I'm scared to come out, you know, and like tell everybody for the rejection, you know what I'm saying? So, rather than not do that, I don't be involved with them because it's a lonely, lonely existence. Yeah. You know, you try to find somebody in the same boat with you so you don't have to, you know, like, and then I would feel terrible if something was to go wrong and I was, you know, would infect somebody by accident or something like that. But I've been trying to find somebody with the virus to cohabitate with.
You know that to be very your immune system down too? That's very bad for you.
Hear my music.
Oh, no, like he's got, I am
I got so much going on in my mind. I'm like, that's the last thing on my mind.
And I got problems with only getting involved with other HIV people. I've always had problems with that. Because now first of all, if I'm using safe sex, why should you have to tell somebody you're using safe sex? Second of all, if my feelings get real involved with this person, I wouldn't know if they're with me because I'm HIV and safe, or am I with them for the same reason? You know, it would just be too many things. So I just prefer just don't even get it if it's how long I can keep it up. But it's not for so much the sex act now. You know, it's really for companionship and all that. Sex, I think, was almost out of my mind when I got diagnosed. I mean, I had started thinking about other things. And right now, I'm really just too busy. I really am.
You know, I get a strange.
God, see, you will make this mistake.
Two of us are 45 and one of us 8. The 45 was too busy. Got little things on our mind.
I'm 50 and I'm still
I'm 44.
I'm 45.
we got an old paddle in here.
I'm old, yeah. You know, I find an enjoyment looking at men's legs now. I got a real passion for that, you know, yeah.
You know, my psychiatrist, and I see, I have two psychiatrists then. Except to shut up. He tells me that I'm headed for a lot of trouble, and I don't know how true it is. He said because I'm wrapping myself up in my daughter and my grandchildren too much, and that a person needs another outlet. And see, all I do is do speaking engagements, and when I go home tonight, I'm going to call my grandchildren. And, like, I don't have any speaking engagements tomorrow, so, like, when it's time for my grandson to get out of school, I'll go around the corner and get him because I moved around the corner from the school. And so I'm saying that when I'm not doing speaking engagements, I'm doing something with my daughter or my grandchildren. And my psychiatrists are telling me that I'm headed for disaster. It's doomed for disaster because a person has to have something else besides their child, because they got their own life. But I don't know how true it is. Huh?
Don't you feel that you're speaking engagement when people...
Yes, but what he's saying is my grandchildren and my speaking engagement shouldn't be the only thing my life consists of. That's all my life is, speaking engagements and my grandchildren. And if I don't have a speaking engagement like I don't have none tomorrow, it'll be my grandchildren. When I come out of my house, finally, I'll go around my daughter's house and wait for the kids to get home from school. So, you know, to them, that's not enough. And I'm beginning to think it's not enough too, because I am getting to the age where them children are bothering me. I have a 4-year-old grandson, and he's getting on my damn nerves. I mean, he's out the window. Yeah. So, I mean, it's time to get something else. That boy gets on my nerves.
One time at Project Hope, when I supported you together with the people, there was a sister there, and she was facilitating group, and she explained it the best that I have ever heard it. Us being humans, we need that male or female. You need that touching or that somebody to talk to, just be with. Sometimes it's to lay on your shoulder, or to lay on theirs, or to lay on your lap, or just to talk to, just to eat with, just to be with.
It's not all just sex. You
The
know,
way I heard it from you, it is.
that's 3/3 of it. You
There is some, you know, we also have a buddy system, okay? We can have buddies, you know. If you luck up, you can get a real decent one, you know. I mean, I think all of them have to be like pretty decent people, you know. But, I've lucked up and got a beautiful one. And I never thought that I could, like, really, I always feel that when you ask me a question, you get in my daily business, you know, and I don't like that, you know, because it's my life, you know. And I always felt like that. And here, like, I can actually, like, share my life with other people. And she's helping me along a lot, too, because I'm a brat, okay? I was raised, I've been a spoiled brat all my life. And I'm just now beginning to understand that I am no brat. I'm a grown woman, you know, and I'm living with this.
There's another side. I lay out a lot of times I'm busy, but if I was in a relationship when I was diagnosed, then that would be something that really had to be dealt with. And if I was a person who, by nature, just wanted all I could get my hands on, that would be something to grapple with. But for me personally, I'm a person who is interested in relationships and didn't have a relationship, was not in a relationship at the time that I was diagnosed. And when you're sitting in this position, the development of a relationship is something that is extremely difficult to consider how to go about. I mean, it's like I'm busy thinking about how am I going to make sure that I got the right medical coverage to get all of this stuff done. You know, I happened to have been between medical plans when I got diagnosed. So, and now I'm not able to get decent medical coverage because I got a pre-existing medical condition. So I need to go, I'm in a situation where I have needed until, well, maybe still, but I can't handle it anymore. I've needed to be on DPW so that I could have the medical card, so that I could get my AZT costs like $150 for a month's worth. So, like, well, maybe I got a good one. They're paying me. But I mean, it's like I've been thinking that I'm going to be tied the rest of my life to a medical card and $202 a month instead of being able to get out there and get back to making 30s and 40s and thousands of dollars. And so at that time in your life, developing new relationships is not what's on the front part of the burner. So that's why it hasn't been easy for me to be sexually inactive, but God knows my brain has got enough going on to not, it just ain't a priority right now.
You know, since I was diagnosed, I have seen 9 psychiatrists. Okay? The house where I live, they think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. Like I said, I'm a brat, okay? They just don't understand it. But they have sent me back and forth to psychiatrists, okay? I'm not suicidal now, okay? I don't really believe it since I've been diagnosed that I was suicidal, you know, because I already knew I had the death sentence. So, you know, why go ahead and take it quicker, you know? I was laughing when you said that you need one, you know. I think that's a good part for us, you know, like, you know, they said that we need to talk to people and stuff, you know. I have a very good therapist, you know, she's really down to earth, stone-faced, but she's down to earth, okay, she never smiles, you know, and I have a very good, psychiatrist. I don't take the psychiatrist medicine, okay, because I've had bad reactions from them. You know, they did put me on Flipfield. That's because I swing. Do I haven't swing, boy? I swing low and I swing high. You know, I'm never here. I'm always either too high or too low. You know, I'm either raising hell or being depressed, so it's either one or the other. You know, they don't know. They can't diagnose me. You know, I've had so many of them just say this. because we just can't diagnose you. We have no idea what's the matter with you. Yeah, but I was laughing when you said that you need one, because I need one. You know, I know I do. Yeah.
You were talking about when you were first told, you said that you thought that you should have been put in counseling. Do you mean that you should have been sat down and talked with them? Or how you would approach that? Would you just say, try to tell it is when you know about it, you know?
I think myself, okay, this is my opinion of it, I feel that they should come in and they should bring the literature. They should sit down and talk to you, tell you the options, tell you things that may happen, things that may not happen, because everybody's case is different. No two people get the same thing, okay? Like, what is the matter with me won't be the matter with Leonard, and what's the matter with Leonard won't come with, you know, Elaine, and so forth and on, okay? And I think it's very, very important, you know, that you be told. Like I said, when I was diagnosed, I, you know, was like, I didn't ask you for no help. You know, AIDS, I didn't ask for no AIDS. You know, where'd it come from, you know? And I couldn't understand that, okay? They didn't say anything except, you're going to die. You know, and so I said, could you tell me when I'm going to do this? Yeah, it was very important to me. I had things I had to get done, you know? I just, you know, I said, well, I left my windows open, and what if my plants die? You know, and stuff. If I don't get home, my plants are going to die and stuff, you know. But it was like my life was very upset, you know, because I mean, I've been told a lot of things, but I ain't been told I'm going to just die, you know, for no reason. But as time went on, you know, like I said, for them 3 years, they were 3 years of hell. Now, they were the hell years, okay? Because I was all by myself. I have no family here. My parents are dead, like I said. My sister, she was like, I told you, you junkie, you know. And it was like one of the things that I you know, and then I isolated. You know, I think that's wrong to isolate, you know. Like they said, there's a million groups out here, and there's a group for everybody. You know, and the more groups, and the more understanding, and the more knowledge, and the more support systems that you have, you're better off, you know.
First of all, when you get diagnosed, you don't have AIDS.
Yeah.
You have HIV and
Usually.
Yeah. You understand, you're anybody.
unless you got the pneumonia right off the gate.
Your antibiotic, I mean, your antibody, you can have been exposed to it years before it'll ever come out and show.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on the point about how people are told they have AIDS. It seems so ironic to me that when you're diagnosed with cancer, they immediately put you in touch with a support system. And if you're going in for, I mean, obviously it depends on the hospital, but the experiences that I've had is you're immediately, you and the family are put in touch with a support network. If you're going in to have, you know, your valves in your heart done, people who've had that done will come visit you and say, see, you know, it's okay, you're going to be fine. So for AIDS, you're locked in a room at the end of the hall, and I mean, that's still happening. And it just, I don't know how to communicate that to you. I mean, I come from a medical family, and that's what happens.
You know, you make me remember something that I always that I want to say. I think that has to do with the fact that people have this preconceived notion about who has AIDS.
Yeah.
And
Sinners.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sinners.
you know, it's like I don't like the questions. I noticed that, you know, different people tell you different places that they got AIDS. If you had a cold, nobody would ask you where you got that cold from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, AIDS is a virus.
Yeah.
And the question in groups like this about that come up in the minds of the audience about how did they get it?
Yeah.
You know, it is a prejudicial perspective from which to come. And it is the continuation of that prejudicial perspective that causes malfeasance in the medical profession or non-feasance when it comes to like sending people into groups. They say, well, got supposed to have it. not supposed to have it. It's a virus, and it can be spread like any other virus, except that in very specific manners. But I mean, most of us in this world have sex.
Oh, boy, you're back to that
I mean,
again.
except for those of us that we are talking about here in this
You know, really, okay,
You people are more in danger, we are in more jeopardy, you, than you are with us. Because we're not having that word sex, and we're not shooting drugs, okay? We can hug us, you can touch us, we can use the bathroom, we can eat with you, we can do all the normal things that normal people do, okay? Except that word again, and, you know, and shoot drugs, okay? And some people, like, some younger people, like, have been infected from the blood. Yes, and from the mother, okay? But really, you are more dangerous to me than I am to you, okay? And, that's something that people should understand.
And the guy that you're
When
going
there's
to meet tomorrow morning is more dangerous to all of you than all of us.
Yeah, but, you know, like, some people, they want to discriminate so hard against us, you know, and put us down and you know, and they're more of a danger to us than we are to them, okay? Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.